I work at the Highway 11, 123 intersection. That's still Westminster there.
All right, I'm going to get this started, and we'll give it about 5 seconds, and then you can start.
Okay, I will like to call to order the Oconee County Art and Historical Commission meeting. It is December 10th, 2020. It is 6 p.m. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the October 8th meeting.
I emailed those out to everyone. Did you get a chance to take a look at those? I didn't get any responses for any changes or deletions or anything.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Approved. Next, we'll move on to the discussion items, and the first is the Art and Historical Mini Grant Review and Recommendations.
All right, so we will go through, back in, I can't remember if it was the July or August meeting, you set forth a mini grant application, and we put that out to the public. We've had 7 responses returned. The qualifications for the grant basically were supplies or promotional materials for an event, a program, or a venue. So it was pretty wide open, with the goal of kind of stimulating that, that part of the economy. And so we have 7 applications in front of you. What I would recommend is that we go through each one. If there's any discussion points on those, we can discuss them. If not, we'll keep moving through all the way through all 7 of them. And then we'll go back one by one and vote, how much you want to provide for the grant. It's a $500 max. They have all asked for the max of $500 except for one, and it just, the way they asked for it just worked out a little short of that. So, and I have provided you those. So I'll start with Upstate Heritage Quilt Trail. That is a request to replace a laptop computer that they use for their operations. You can see their budget on the back side, what that's going to cost. And they'll have to put some money in on their end as well, but that's a $500 request to replace a computer for their operations. Any questions for Upstate Heritage Quilt Trail? And if it's okay, I'll just move my way through.
Yeah, let's go through.
The second one is the Oconee Military Museum. This is an effort to bring recognition to a Women's Veterans Day on June the 19th. And so their requests are for the promotional materials needed to pull off and recognize a Women's Veterans Day in June. Any questions, concerns? Yes.
Have they done any surveys to know how many women are around the area?
I have not done any. That certainly could be a question for them.
Yeah, I mean,
But
if
I have
there's
not-
like 6 or there's 60 or
No,
100 or
there'll be a good bit more than,
6, I know, but I just wondered how many people there.
I don't know, we can certainly reach back out to them and follow
Yeah,
up.
I'd just be kind of curious as to know.
We can ask that.
And
Well, at $200 for shirts, they're planning on.
They're planning on there being a bunch.
okay,
Yeah.
is that a June 19th? Is that a special day? Is that? No, that's just a date that they chose. Okay.
I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
Okay, the third one is for the Museum of Cherokee in South Carolina. This is for operational supplies to kind of replenish their retail outlet space. And you can see on the back how that breaks down the quantity of each one. And their total comes to $494 of their request. Any questions for Museum of Cherokee in South Carolina? Okay, the fourth one is the Oconee Community Theater. This is a request for promotion and advertising for the launch of a drama lessons in their theater. And as you read this, you'll notice that they showcase this as one of the only places that you can take those type of lessons. So you can see the breakdown of their cost on the back. They too will have to put some money in to match what they're asking for. London Academy of Dramatic Art Drama Lessons. Questions?
I was just surprised at the amount of money that we spend on advertisement. It seems like quite a lot to me. But that's maybe what it is.
I do know that those ad spaces and newspaper ads, depending on the size, can get quite pricey, so I don't know if those are, I don't know for sure, but I wasn't shocked by those pricings.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, number 5 is the Foothills Farmstead. I'm sorry, did I miss one?
Yeah, no, what else farms?
Yeah, Foothills Farmstead. And that is for the design, printing, and building of 2 interpretive signs to go on the property of the farmstead. And you can see on the back, comes out to about $550. They've got pictures of the signs and what they look like. This will assist when they're closed and staff's not there, when people come onto the site, it still provides information for them. Any questions about that one? Okay, the next one is the Lake and Mountain Quilters Guild. This is a show that's done every year at the Chamber Complex with the quilters, and this is their biennial show. You can see on the back all of their expenses. So while they didn't kind of say exactly what the 500 would be used for, they did provide you their entire budget to show that they're all the things that they're spending money on. We could ask them to pinpoint the, some printing or some brochures just to make it specific to the grant. So that would be up to you guys if you wanted to do that. Because we would require that, we're gonna require the invoices anyway when they turn it in.
Yeah.
So they gotta show us where the $500 is spent.
Yeah, I like that idea, Bill, that they're gonna be making money off of this, but they need to put money in, but it'd be nice to know
Okay.
where our $500 is going.
Yeah, we'll make them define that.
And I'm assuming on their income budget, that the 500 is in that 2,500 of sponsorships and donations, so I'm assuming that they're asking others as well. And
I think they're probably considering this the one right above that, the ATAX
Oh, yeah.
grant.
That
Okay.
was gonna be my question was, I read it as they were going to be getting ATAX money as well, and then if that was a problem.
It's not a problem, but I think it's just because this group normally doesn't give grants, some of them think this is ATAX money. And so the way they've got that labeled
Yeah, that's probably.
is they're thinking that this is the $500 for the ATAX grant and not the Arts and Historical grant. So it would not fall in the donations, it would fall in the one right above that. Any other questions for us? All right, and the last one is Blue Ridge Arts.
I'm going out in the hall. Be nice, you guys.
Fingers in your ears.
This is a request from Blue Ridge Arts Center. Suzette is recusing herself because she is a part of the Blue Ridge Arts Center. But they had some damage, and so they're working to replace some of the outdoor space around their venue where a couple trees fell. And so this is some beautification and landscaping work around their venue. And you can see on the back where that happened, and they've got some of their club members and volunteers that will work to plant those in May, whenever this takes place. I'm sorry, yeah, April and May. Any specific questions for Blue Ridge Arts Center? Okay, Daniel, you could tell her to come back in.
Okay.
I'm not sure how far she wanted on.
For clarification, when we put this out, how many dollars did we set aside for this?
Hey, I got some chocolate, you want some?
I'm sorry, we fund everything here at, one single short. So what I would recommend, since
My chocolate?
this group has not
Thank you.
dispersed grants before, I would recommend that we take each one. Madam Chair, you would ask for any final questions, and then you would call for a recommendation. And someone, commission member would recommend funding at a certain level. That's then talked back and forth until you decide what to do, and then there'll be a motion and a second to fund that applicant at whatever dollar amount you decide on. And I'll make those notes and we'll go from there.
Can I ask just a general question about the grants? And many of them had events on specific dates. If those events don't occur for whatever reason, does that impact the grant?
So
I
typically.
guess they're not getting paid till they provide something.
I'm sorry?
They don't even get the money until they provide something, or?
No, so what we typically will do is we'll go ahead and cut a check,
Okay.
and then they will have to provide their information. They'll have so much time to provide their information. And I think it's on the application what I gave them to turn their paperwork back in. If their event is canceled, they will have an option. They can use it again next year, which is what we do with our E-tax grants, or they would have to return the money.
Okay.
But it is designated, it can't just go into their general operating.
Correct. You don't lose it. If you don't have the event, then that money has to be returned.
Okay, so starting with the first one, which is the Quilt Trail, is there any discussion or question, is that what I'm doing? Any questions?
Any final questions
Any
or
final
discussion?
questions?
And then a call for a recommendation.
So I guess I'll phrase that, if there are no further questions,
I make a motion that we fund it for $500.
then any further discussion? Or do we need a
Call
second?
for a second.
Okay. Goodness. So we have a motion for 500. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Suzette seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next, Libby.
We lost her.
All coming in.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's paused on your end, I can't see you, but if you can see me.
She says it's paused on,
I can hear you,
You
I
can-
just can't see,
Oh.
but that's fine, I can hear Aubrey.
okay. So the next, we'll move on to the Oconee History Museum. And if there is no further questions or discussions, can we get a motion or recommendation?
I move that we, okay it.
In the amount of 500?
Yes.
Okay,
They're only asking for $494, right?
Oh,
No, this is
No, this
the
is
military
500.
museum.
I'm sorry, I've got them mixed up. I've got them the wrong one. My apologies.
so the museum for 500,
I second it.
Hold on, that's my fault. Yeah, military museum, that's correct.
oh,
Yes.
yes, there we go. So the military museum, 500. Suzette made the motion, Dan and y'all seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Libby approves, motion carries. So, the next one, I am showing for the Museum of Cherokee. And, I'll open it up for discussion or a recommendation.
question for staff, is there any reason why we wouldn't go ahead and make it 500 for the, because they've only asked for 494, is that what we should?
You can do it for 500.
It would seem like it'd be easier for you to keep up with.
That's fine, you can do it for 500. And if they only
Okay.
turn in those receipts, they'll have to give me $4 back. I mean, $6.
$6.
Okay.
I suspect that the receipt's gonna end up being payable, so. I make a motion that we approve it at $500.
Okay, so there is a motion for $500. And Mike seconds it. Any discussion or all in favor? All in favor, we'll just vote. So it's for $500. We approved. Passes. Our next grant would be the Oconee Community Theater. And they are asking for the 500. So I'll open for additional discussion or recommendation. On this one, does it matter, as we talked about for the quilt show, that they had several items, and this is also a larger project? Is this one that we might want to consider earmarking just the promotion or advertising? I know that they have food and drinks at 300, but they do have specific amounts for advertisement that we could be sure that our money was used for those. Or do we not need to designate that? Thoughts?
I like the supplies, when you go farther down, Lambda supplies for students, including folders, pens, stationery, T-shirts. That's something that you can wrap your hands around, you know, and maybe the posters also, that's $450. Yeah, that's where I mean, they're gonna, if they get the $500, they're gonna do what they want to with it. But I'd rather see it going for something that has some more substance.
That's my point, is if they were able to itemize, and we have printing and designing flyers, we have posters, and they could, any combination of those that adds up to 500, you know, it definitely exceeds 500. But then that last item is that $300, and I just feel like, for the grant purposes and showing a receipt, it would be, I would like to designate that it go to the actual, like you said,
Posters, printing and design of flyers and supplies, is that where you feel like it should be?
yeah.
I could support that.
I agree.
And you could simply say in your motion, anything except food and drink.
Okay. Has anybody made a motion on this one yet?
Not yet.
No.
All right, then I make a motion to approve for $500 to be used towards posters, printing and design of flyers and registration forms, and the supplies for the students, including the folders, pens, etc.
I'll go ahead and, can I second that? Okay, I'll second that one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The next item is the Lake and Mountain Quilters Guild. This is for their quilt show. Open up for additional discussions
Can
or,
we skip the foothill times for one?
oh,
Yeah, Foothill Farms is next on the list.
I'm looking at their format.
Yeah,
I messed up the first time, I'm trying to get it right.
yeah, I think they were,
I may have had them switched.
Out of
in the
order?
packet. That could be my fault. Either one, we gotta do both.
I'm prepared to recommend for $500 for the foothill farm stand.
Yeah, I second that.
Daniel seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So Foothills Farmhead motion passes. We'll go to the Lake and Mounters Quilters Guild. And this is the one that we discussed. I'll go ahead and open for additional discussion. or a recommendation? And I'll make the motion to approve the $500 with the designation that our grant go towards the specific printing of the flyers, banner signs, and ballots.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The last item is for the Blue Ridge Art Center. Open it up for discussion and recommendation.
I make a motion to approve $500. We have to have somebody abstain from this.
Suzette, does she just abstain or does she?
She can abstain if she likes.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the $500.
I love it. I second it.
And seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And please note the sustain for the record.
Yes, I Very good, so you have completed your first mini grant process.
That's exciting. So that, since we did the full 500, that is $3,500.
$3,500. This money is already approved as part of the budget, so it will not have to proceed to county council because that was already your funds approved in the general budget. So we will proceed with award letters to all of these applicants and directions on how to turn in their final report once that's completed. So that's, I think it's a very good use of funds, and it was able to spread out across 7 different organizations.
Question, Phil, didn't we have $5,000?
So there was $5,000 that this group recommended using up to. Because you only had 7 applications, you only had the 3,500.
Right.
So you have 1,500 additional. If we go back to our treasurer's report, so you now, 7,000 minus 3,500, you now have $3,500 left in your arts and historical account through the end of this budget cycle.
And
And
that's,
that would be up to the committee as to how they would choose to spend.
and the end of that cycle is when? Next year?
June 30th.
June 30th,
Mhm.
okay.
And is this mini grant, is this closed for more submissions or?
That's up to the commission, so, you know, there's $1,500 out there, so there's 3 more spots. You can, if we open it back up, then you have the potential to get 3 more. You have the potential to get 5 more and have to pick 3 of the 5. Or you have the ability as a commission to, you know, you have another thing on your, agenda today to talk about, you know, other ways that you might could spend that money. So
Right.
that is totally up to this group,
Okay.
to your commission. But if you opened it back up, it would be the same process. I would do a public press release announcing a time frame, receive the applications, and then bring them back to you. Because that's how we set up the initial process.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all can hear me, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking over somebody. I just wanted to make this suggestion. First of all, I love the idea of the mini grants. I think it's really a great way to use the funds and reach the most amount of people. Do we have plans, or could we make sure that we do a press release and get, really promote what it is that the commission has done and list those recipients? I didn't know if there had already been discussion on that, but I think that's something that the public needs to definitely know, the good work that's been done.
Yes, ma'am. I will be doing a press release that labels each applicant and their award, and I'll have that to go out. If not tomorrow, it'll go out Monday.
Awesome.
I think what we might want to do is move on to the next agenda item, and then that might we can bring back in sort of the treasury report and our remaining funds. The next item actually on our discussion item is public art a mural promotion discussion. And one of the things that I was considering or looked into and wanted to discuss was with all the murals that we're seeing in the county in the different cities and locations, is some type of calendar that we could print with our remaining funds and use for promotional of the commission and for the arts and for the artists. But that was just, for murals, but should we, I just wanted, it was just an idea of whether or not we should look into directing staff to do further research, and/or just I'll open it up for discussion of other items of what we should do with our remaining funds.
Be a little late to get a calendar out now, wouldn't it? I mean, I like the idea, but unless it's a school year calendar.
I agree.
But that wouldn't mean we shouldn't spend some time and money to get it ready for next year. I'm not opposed, I like the idea.
Olivia, can you hear me?
Yes.
So you and I had a conversation last week about promoting murals. Do you want to talk about some of the ideas that you talked about?
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to remember what exactly we talked about. But I know, I guess my opinion on the calendar is, I'm not sure if anyone's gotten quotes yet, but they are a full color calendar. I imagine it's pretty expensive, and I'm just not sure how many people use printed calendars that much. And I think that as an artist, I'm looking at the best ways that maybe we could really help the artists. If we have a calendar, it might have a link to their website or that kind of thing. But I think the best way is to be able to get that direct click, so you're having the ability to go directly to that artist's social media page or website or whatever, see some more of their work or contact them. So I don't know, Phil, if I had specific ideas. Do you remember? Or if not, I have a couple of
Well, you spoke to me about a mobile app.
Yes, yeah. So
Some sort of mobile app
similar
or...
to maybe looking at like what the Quilt Trail kind of does, but an online version. You can really easily get the QR codes printed on like a little piece of plastic, and maybe we could have those QR codes mounted in the spaces where there's public art, and that doesn't just have to be murals. That could be sculpture, really anything. And then people can just shoot that with their phone, and it goes to information about that artist. I mean, if the goal is to promote the artist, I think that would be something like that is going to be a lot more valuable to spend money on than maybe something that's print. And then maybe printing some rack cards or something to advertise the public art trail, so those would be in the visitor center or whatever, that have little postcards that say, really kind of looking at what the Quilt Trail does, and they do a really good job of that. But so the expense would be putting out some little postcards or something, and then putting, getting those little something at the physical site that people who are there to take a picture in front of the mural or see the public art can get instant information about that artist.
So is the
And I don't know if there was other things that we discussed.
Is the software and app for that already in existence, and all we need to do is to spend the money to get the tags made and located, or is the whole app got to be designed?
It's really just the way that the QR works. It would be, you put your phone up to it, and it would link it directly to the artist's page. So
each of
like,
these artists has
that
their
would
own
be
page.
there would be volunteer work involved in that, but it's not like developing an app. Now there are walking trail apps. There's all kinds of stuff that you could do and look into and spend more money on it. But a really quick and easy solution would be that direct, where you're going straight to the artist page. The other thing is maybe have a landing page on the county website or even on Visit Oconee, work with them. Have an Arts and Historical Commission landing page on Visit Oconee, and the QR goes directly to that. And then from there, they can get the link to all of the list of public arts and see the trail, or, you know, if you will, just the list.
Do we have
But
any,
again, that's gonna take some manpower, you know, that not more than just spending money, but it would be, somebody would have to work on that. But that's something you could hire somebody to do pretty easily.
well, I like the concept of what I'm hearing, but do we have any estimates of what we're talking about? Or are we talking about $100 per site, or are we talking?
I don't know. I remember a few years ago when I first came on the commission, we talked about the funds and projects, and one was like a trail using the QR codes. And now granted, technology and everything has advanced, and to the point where I think for what Libby, the first option she's talking about, anyone can just print it out. If they have a website, you can print out a QR code and on paper, laminate it, stick it somewhere near the art. And that's not gonna be a lot of cost. But if we were to, if these artists don't have a website, or like Libby said, to be able to work with the county and be able to create a landing page, that's going to be a little bit more. I don't think, you know, looking at our budget, so far we have $1,500 left over from the mini grant, and then we had another 15?
You should have 3,500 available
Yeah,
after your
35.
mini grants.
So, you know, I don't think that we would exceed that, because we're not looking to create a brand-new app that's specific. We're just using technology, but it is gonna require someone to do some time and work and, you know, hopefully volunteer work if we, you know.
I think with that $3,500 budget, you could get nice acrylic QR things made that can be mounted. That wouldn't be very expensive. And then I think you would have enough money to hire somebody to just design that landing page that, again, could be worked through Visit Oconee. And that would just be really a one-time thing that could be updated super easily. And I don't know, Phil may know, but maybe the Visit Oconee could even, if you guys provided the information, they could take that on, because it wouldn't be updated a lot. But it'd be really good just for the commission itself to have that kind of landing page. I know that we had always talked about doing calendars and that kind of thing, so it may grow, but it's not going to cost, it would be very, it's not going to cost a lot to even just hire somebody to create that page. We've got the logo, you know, that we did, and the kind of graphics that we used for the passport, you know, those kind of things we could give to them, and plug it in pretty easily. So, I mean, I think you still have money left over after doing those two things. And then you could use that extra money to print like just some postcards or something to promote the public art tour, that kind of thing. I think that would all be able to fit in that budget.
I don't know, have any idea what the cost would be for a billboard. I have no idea, but if we could get some billboards going into each one of the 3 cities, because Seneca has incredible murals, Walhalla does, and so is Westminster. Melody Davis is doing, you know, they just had a walk last weekend with all her murals. And if we could get something that would be, when you drive into the city, you would see this great big billboard that would have the murals, and from there, I don't know how you could go, you know, people coming into town who don't know anything about it could go, oh my gosh, look at all those murals, I want to go visit them. So I don't know how much that costs or where they'd be placed or anything.
I guess at this point, I'm saying, I'm supportive of the concept of getting these codes up there. I see a great value in that, but I'd like to see samples of what that looks like. I definitely don't want laminated pieces of paper. You know, whether it's acrylic or whether it's metal or something durable, I'd like to see what they are and I'd like to see a cost. I have
So
no
if you think
concept.
about like the little pieces of acrylic that might, you know, if you get an award, you know, the clear acrylic that kind of sits on your desk kind of thing.
Yeah, I understand.
That type of thing that would, you know, you could mount. And it depends on if it's a wall or if it's a public sculpture or something like that, it might be something different.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess I'm supportive of the concept, but I'd like to see this fleshed out with some actual things and prices and not just a blank check to see what you can do. I mean, something as simple as whether it's acrylic or metal, if one's $5 and the other's $7, which one's gonna last longer, you know? But if one's 5 and one's 50, you know, I think we need that kind of input. So I'm all supportive of the concept, but I'd like to see an actual estimate and proposal and some samples. I don't know who would need to put that together, but I don't know enough about it to do it, but.
Would there be students at the Hamilton Career Center who could do something like this for us? I mean, they have a lot of classes in technology and things like that, and so it might be some way to get the students involved.
You know, one thing that came to mind is the signage, in preservation of the signs, that I think, I was hearing that, you know, vandalism or just with weather, you know, how well do these last? And if it doesn't work or is destroyed or defaced or what have you, then, you know, then we become either responsible for updating it, or then it's of no value to the citizens because they won't want to participate. They can't participate because there's no link, because all the information would be on your phone or after you scan the code.
Is there an ongoing cost of maintaining a QR code, or is that a one-time thing? I don't know. I mean, I've used them before, but I don't know the background, what, you know, if there's always, every year you're paying fees to maintain that code, or,
No.
no?
Yeah, there's no cost to it.
I would think only if, there would only be a change if the website changed, because that's what the code does, is it just tells tells you what
Gotcha.
the website is.
Okay,
And
that
instead
sounds
of
good.
writing a website on the acrylic, it's a code that your
Right.
scanning phone just scans it and then pops up the website so you can read, you know, about the artist or about the piece of art. But yes, there has to be a website
Basically a
somewhere
coded
standard.
website, yeah, okay.
And I would assume that we would want to ask the artist where they want it to land. I mean, if they've got a page that's specifically about that art, they'd want it to land there. If they don't, they want it to land on their homepage or whatever. So there's gonna be some process in that, but I'm supportive of the concept. I have no issues with that. I just like a little more meat on the bones.
So what I'm hearing is that there, we have the QR and the art trail, because I think it would be great, the concept would be great to be able to have one that is for public art and murals, things that are outside and viewable on their own, and to grow it as hopefully we get more and more pieces. So that's one option we could, with our remaining balance of funds, that we could investigate, because we have additional questions. I do hear about the print of the calendars. It was something, I think, as much as we are good with technology, there's plenty of citizens in this county that are not as technology advanced. And I do acknowledge the timing, though, to get one ready for next year would be that's a short turnaround. And think maybe it's just something that we maybe put in our back pocket and discuss maybe next year. But that being said, are there any other items or suggestions or discussions? The other option we had is, you know, do we expand the mini grant program?
And you also have the billboards.
Oh, yeah. We could, and I don't know the cost of those, but I don't think that they're cheap. I don't know for
Not they're
sure.
durable.
But they would
Probably
be, they wouldn't get defaced probably.
So I think just to kind of help guide through here, you've got 3 options that's been presented. I think the committee needs to decide kind of which one you want to think about moving forward on, and then you need to have a plan on the January meeting, getting a presentation on how those things could happen. And then depending on which one you choose, there's different levels of either stuff staff can help with or stuff staff can't help with, and you're gonna have to get some outside help. So I think the first thing is deciding which direction to go.
Let's see if I can summarize it in a way that I think we're in consensus with. I don't think anybody's opposed to the calendar idea, but the timing is off. But there may be some cost in this fiscal year to get things prepped for a 2022 calendar, if we want to pursue that. And I think it's worth at least researching and see the cost to make some decisions. The idea of the QR codes, I think we're all in support of. We just need a firmer, what are we going to do, put a plan together that we're approving. And as far as the billboards are concerned, to this point, it would strictly be, we need to know what the cost of doing something like that would be. That would be sort of our marching orders for January. Does anybody disagree with that?
I can call a couple places and get a price estimate for a billboard, and if you want me to do that,
Yeah, good night.
That would be good.
okay? Billboards or us, I have no idea, but I don't know. I'll find
I
something.
really like the QR code idea. It gives, that's just something that the artists can, you know, basically advertise who they are and everything. Because I've looked at some of these murals and I see a name maybe, but I don't know anything about that person. And that would be a quick way to find out what kind of art they had available.
And I've seen some murals I really like, and I've seen some murals like, what are they trying to do? I can look it up and see.
So are we asking, recommending for staff to prepare us for the January meeting, these 3 items, with cost estimate and an actionable plan, should we take it? And is that something that,
Does staff have the expertise to give us an estimate on this QR, or do you need to get a consultant?
I would have to get somebody to help me.
Any idea what that would cost?
I don't think it would cost anything to gather the information.
Okay.
I just would need to find out who that is, and it may be Libby. You know, just kind of digging in a little bit. And
Say, if Libby wants to take the challenge on, we're willing to listen.
is this something, Phil, that we, well, I guess because we're maybe short, that I was thinking a subcommittee, but that might be, I don't know the difference of needing a subcommittee versus just volunteering to help gather that information.
I think any information that can be volunteered and gathered, like, you know, Suzette, if you could call and get prices, you're welcome to give them, to send them to me. That would be very helpful on my end.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
I could bring all that, and I'd be glad to present it, but just, you know, physically going and doing it is tremendously helpful for me. Same thing on the QR code. You know, I'll have a conversation with Libby to gather some more information, and I can chat with some of our social media folks that do that for us through Visit Oconee, and see what their background is with QR codes, and I think we can bring something back that kind of will get us in that direction.
Well, I'm gonna guess that the highest priority is probably the QR, second being the billboards, and the calendar would be the lowest priority.
Okay.
Only because the calendar's got more lead time. I'm not diminishing the calendar. Just-
No, and that's just an idea, so I feel like it's, having one idea spurs another. So I'm the type of person that I will throw something out there, even if it's not the best idea out there, just to get our brains thinking. So please, there's no,
I really like the QR code option, because it can expand, beyond just public art. You know, this can be expanded to any location.
Historical
Right.
sites.
You know, any kind of site, whether it's historical, artistic,
Yeah.
just a tourism site. I mean, it
Takes-
could be a program that kind of takes off a little bit. So I can gather
I
more
do like
information
it.
about that and try to bring you something back in January.
It's kind of like the passport, but in a different way of doing
Yeah,
it.
Different
everybody's not carrying
passports.
around their passport, but
Right.
they got their phone with them.
Yeah,
I've got the little scanner on my phone, you know?
yes.
Yeah, essentially, I would do all 20 of those sites in there, I would include in this program.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and put a QR code at all those locations, so that if you don't have a passport, you can click on that. And people who see those QR codes, they know what they're for.
Yeah,
And I'm actually picturing in my mind, some of those locations, it needs to be on a stake that you put, you know, the murals on the wall. Because no artist wants that stuck on their mural, you know, so it's gonna have to be something that can be mounted.
Yeah, I'll lean on you artists to tell me about that.
So, okay.
okay,
So I've got my marching orders.
okay.
Okay.
Any further discussion? I think we're good on that. Libby's good. Okay. Let's go on to the next item, which is our partner update.
So I had this on the agenda, due to, some unforeseen circumstances. That person could not join us tonight, so that fell through. So I'll try again in January. That just happened. It was a COVID issue that they needed to stay away. So, we will not do a partner update tonight. This is just a reminder that we have a District 4 vacancy. And,
If you can pull up the map in that corner and let's see if this person's in that district or not.
okay. And then the last thing I have for you tonight are the meeting dates for 2021 that are in front of you. We are a second Thursday of the month, meeting at 6 p.m. I circled May and November because those are not the second Thursday. I have a conference May, the second Thursday in May, and will not be in town. And then November is Veterans Day, and it's a county holiday, so there won't be anybody here. So those two dates were moved to the following Thursday. And so I just want to provide you those dates. And I think, did I put them on the agenda? Am I smart enough?
Can you send those as an Outlook appointment?
I can.
I would appreciate that. I don't know if the others would, but I would appreciate that.
Does everybody use Outlook calendar?
No, but I'm writing them all down here.
Okay. I will send them an email, and then I'll do a calendar as well.
Thank you.
my life is run with that calendar.
Me too. I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Madam Chair, unless somebody else does.
Okay, so, the next meeting is scheduled for January 14th. If there's no further discussions, we have no other items, I will then,
I make a motion to adjourn?
there you go, there you go. Make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Dan seconds it, and 6:48. Sounds good? Thank you, thank you.